Another fantastic game here at the DP World ILT20 Season 4. I tell you what, another game coming down to the wire. That's 7 of these 14 games finishing in the last over. And today it's the Sharjah Warriorz who finally notch up their first win of the competition. Thank you so much for joining us here on Cricket Safari. Owe Shah and Rowan Gavaskar alongside me. And Ro, give me some. That's nice.
Give me some love.
Give me some love. Finally, we got the Sharjah. I say we. We got the Sharjah Warriorz across the line.
I love how you're jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah, we did.
There was the lone warrior who went for the Sharjah Warriorz, and boom!
I know some people that will have footage of me cheering for the Sharjah Warriorz this whole season. I know who else is cheering for them, and that is their head coach, JP Duminy. Congratulations. You're on the board, so to speak. A great win. A really solid win, actually, and you fought for it right down to the wire. How are you feeling? How's the heart rate?
Probably beating around 160, to be fair. Look, it's been tough going for us. 3 losses in 3 games on a tournament like this, where you gain confidence out of momentum. And for us, losing 3 on a bounce, you could feel it in the change room. But more importantly, now we go back to back in terms of games today and tomorrow. So I think the short space of time probably helps us to take a little bit of confidence into tomorrow and making sure that we can execute our skills again.
Those 3 losses, I mean, they weren't without their positives in them. There were moments in the game where it could have gone the other way and you guys could have in fact won it. You come into today, you made a lot of changes. One of our favourite phrases in this tournament so far is horses for courses. We seem to say that a lot.
Yeah. Rotation
of players and moving them around. Big call to rotate your captain as well. And I know we talked about workload, or it was talked about at the toss. What does the next couple of days look like for you in terms of rotation and how you go forward from here?
Well, I think there's 2 things that we need to solve for, really. One, management, yes, but more importantly, also identifying areas that we're falling short. For us, it's identifying power play with the ball and back end with the ball. All right, do we have the resources that allows for us to make a few changes? We've got, I think, 5 in 7 days at the back end of the tournament. We've got a couple of players leaving us. So how do we keep the group sort of flexible, but more importantly, how do we keep them invested into the tournament? It's a big squad, 23 players. So it's really just being transparent about where we are, what is needed for us to get over the line. And fortunately, tonight it worked out.
How do you coach players that come in and out so often? So you've lost Tim David. He had the 3 games early on. How do you work that out? How does that work into your planning, and how do you talk to players around the movement of the stars you have come in and out?
Well, I think just from a team point of view, you almost look at it with 3 tournaments in one tournament. So we sort of solve for the first 3, the middle 4, and then the back 3. So that's sort of the thinking from a management point of view. I think just the transparency again with players in terms of their roles. Like horses for courses, as you mentioned there.
I'm putting that on a T-shirt, I know that.
And then just, for me as a coach, it's, always, you've been a coach as well. It's really about trying to identify what gets players going. Trying to, in a short space of time like this, it's not so much about coaching them about their skills. It's really about getting them invested, them feeling safe enough to explore their skill, trying to understand what makes them tick. How do we get the best out of them? How do we create a culture where they invest into something bigger than themselves? And that's a difficult thing at times when you think about, playing so many tournaments around the world. How do you get them to look outside of their own game as well? So that's sort of the aim for us really as coaches.
I just want to jump in there, JP. So at halfway stage, did you feel you had enough to defend on, which I thought was a decent batting track?
Yeah. I'd say I was unsure, to be fair. And I had the conversation with the coaches. It almost felt like a wicket where you weren't sure whether that was par in or not. And we just sort of resided to the fact that we'll see in the next 20 overs whether it was enough.
which brings me to my question, JP, is as a coach, and sometimes where tactics are concerned in terms of retiring players out, we see a lot of players being retiring after the 15th or 16th over. Was there any stage around the 9th or 10th over you thought you might call Tom Collar-Cadmore back? Because as good, and he's a special player, it just wasn't his day today.
I don't think it was on our radar. I think we always thought of it as he's 2 boundaries away of gaining momentum. And if there's anybody in our squad or in the playing 11 that has the ability to do it, even though it wasn't working for him, he is the guy. So it's always a tough one to manage. As a player, I'm always aware, or if I put my players out, I'm always aware, how does that affect them in the rest of the tournament? So for us, it wasn't really on the cards, no.
I want to talk about his partner at the top of the order. You talked about making sure that players know their roles in and out. Johnson Charles is a man who knows exactly what his role is in this competition and in your team. Today, his performance was very impressive with the bat. What did you like about the way he tempered his innings?
You know, if you think over the years, you know, Johnson Charles playing in this tournament, you always felt like he dominated the power play. And I think for us, even though the wicket didn't suit that style of play, it was the ability to extend his innings, identify certain bowlers that he potentially wanted to target. He actually spoke at the timeout that 160 was possibly going to be enough. To be fair, I didn't think that was the case. But more importantly, I think he felt that he needed to extend as best as possible, even though his strike rate wasn't as impressive as we've seen in this tournament thus far. It was an impactful innings, and that's the most important thing for us.
He absolutely did the job he needed to do. And although you mentioned, Ro, that TKC struggled a little bit today, I mean, he didn't get a lot of the strikes, so that must be hard in terms of momentum when you're out in the middle. They did a job together. They set a platform that the Warriors needed on the day. Why do they bat so well together? Because they're now the best pair when it comes to the DP World ILT20.
Well, I think because they're a pair that complements each other. Both, as JP said, have that ability to dominate the attack. Both have the ability to hit big sixes, and that's why that was why I had asked this question of JP, because so often you find a batter struggling for rhythm, struggling for to get into the groove, and as I said, Tom Colocat was a special player. It just seemed that it was a scratchy innings from him, and he'll be the first to admit it. So as a team, what do you do? But you're right, as a pair, these two, if one's not going, the other one is, and that is why they are such a dangerous partnership, because like we saw today, Tom Colocat wasn't really at his best with Johnson Charles. Boom, he's the one who said, listen, don't worry mate, I've got your back, I'll take a few more risks, I'll try and be a little bit more aggressive, and I'll make sure that we don't fall behind where we want to be at a certain stage. So that's why they're such a successful pair.
I want to talk about the platform that they laid. So a young man by the name of Roo can come in and be free in his first game, and he worked hard out there, he did a good job, and he was great behind the stumps as well. What was your assessment of his first game for you?
It's sort of an unknown entity, isn't it? To be honest, I haven't seen a lot of him, but the one thing that we found was really impressive is his spin play. I mean, we saw a little bit in the practice, and he backed his sweep and reverse sweep. And when you think about that type of options that you have against quality spin, you have to be confident and you have to commit. But I love that the temperament that he has as a young man. Obviously, he's got the skill behind the stumps as well. I think this is the start of great things for him in a T20 career. But more importantly, he certainly, to my understanding, has the motivation to represent England in all formats. So it's definitely one to watch for the future.
Yeah, AC was exciting, and I want to talk about behind the stumps and the kind of pressure that a wicketkeeper can put on the batter. The stumps are constantly flying, there's noise happening behind you. I'm sure he might not have got him out, but it felt everything's happening, it's all go. What does that do to a batter's mindset when you've got a whole lot going on behind the stumps?
Well, look, it's a tactic that a lot of teams have used in the past, and they always will. But you mentioned about temperament. When you chuck a young guy who hasn't played much, it's his first game, and he walks out there, if you can shut that noise out and play with that flair, the confidence, it just shows you where you are at mentally. Yes, it puts some people off, but I think watching that young man Roo play, I just love the fact that first ball he reverse swept, and we were all like, wow, like where did that come from?
Yep.
And it was just that air of confidence that he has. Being an Englishman as well, of course, coach, get him in. Yeah. I think it just shows you where that young man is, and it's pretty special talent by the looks of it.
I also think, if you're a player like Roo, what it tells me that A, as JP said, he's a special talent, but B, also the team environment. One of the key factors for a player succeeding at any level is for him to feel that he belongs at that level. And the fact that he's played the reverse sweep first up tells me that the team environment at Sharjah Warriorz has given him that confidence. So, you've got to give credit to, the team players, the coach, the background, the staff, because you want to create an environment, and it's not easy to do so when you've lost 3 on the bounce. But to keep that going, I think speaks volumes for the team environment that they've created in their team.
Absolutely, it does. And if we look at confidence and players coming in, if you've got a big price tag, I can't personally imagine the pressure when you come into a situation. Junaid Siddiqui, he comes in, he's in the wickets today. What's he been like in the group lately?
Well, this is his 4th season with the Sharjah Warriorz, and in many ways, if you had to ask him, he would probably say that he's underperformed up until this point. But in many ways also, I think the injury probably distracted him a little bit I remember speaking to him in the middle, he was like, no coach, give me the ball, give me the ball. I mean, it's a deep cut. He's probably like, you don't know if he's going to be ready for the next game. But I think that took his mindset to a point of, right, what does the team need right now? What do I need to do? And it sort of takes away the pressure of really needing to perform and really just focus on every ball. And it's really impressive. You know, he's probably renowned to be one of the best seamers in the UAE at the moment. And that shows in the fact that we've backed him in terms of the price tag. And now, hopefully, you know, we'll see a little bit of a consistent run in performances from him.
Yeah, it must be nice for him staying, fingers crossed for that injury. And you've got a new player this season he's had plenty of experience when it comes to the DP World ILT20. He captained for you today. He was great with bat and ball. What's he like? Because he seems like a real live wire, comes with a lot of energy. How important is a player like that in a team?
You look at the aura of certain players when they walk into an environment and a change room, particularly if they're new players. There's a couple of players here that have been here for a while, but he comes in and when he speaks, you can feel the sense that people listen. I love his energy. I love the aura that he brings. He's almost a, you know, he wants to play cricket all the time, like 24/7 he wants to be. He's thinking about the game. Last night we're in the team room, we're talking about tactics. You know, he's watching the games that have been played last night. So he's thinking about how can he get the best out of himself, about the team. And as a coach, that's the sort of ideal player that you want. And to back it up with performances as well. It's not about just, you know, what you say. He's backing it up. Follow me and I'll show you the way how to go. When we're under pressure, he wants the ball. When we're under pressure, he wants to be in the middle with the bat. And that's a special player to have in your team.
And it wasn't even, Ro, we were in Sharjah the other day. It's not even when he's got the captaincy armband. He's doing that no matter the situation. You saw him around the field. His ground fielding was superb.
Yeah, that's the difference between a captain and a leader. You don't have to be captaining the side to, you know, show your leadership qualities. He does that even if he doesn't have the armband on. He's going to be there, you know, helping everyone out, helping whoever may be the captain. If he's not the captain, helping the senior players, the bowlers, be going up saying, listen, mate, I think you need to be doing this. Maybe even in terms of field placement. Look, I always believe that if in a team to be successful, you need to have, well, there'll be one captain, but you need all your other players to be thinking like captains. Because what that does is that keeps them involved in the game. Because you're thinking, hold on a minute, could I bring X player on, X bowler on? Could I bring Y bowler on? Can I have extra cover a little more deeper, a little bit finer? It just keeps you in the game. And we see that from Sikandar all the time. He's just, as JP said, he is an asset to any team that he plays.
So you get the win today, you get the points, you're on the board, you're off the bottom of the table. Fantastic. Now, how do you take this momentum and keep it moving?
Identifying again, look, we're back in Sharjah, different conditions. You know, what's the combination that's potentially going to give us our best chance? That's probably the first point of call. What worked? What are certain areas that we still need to improve on? You know, it's a short turnaround, so we obviously have to have some quick conversations around that. But more importantly, the morale of the team will certainly be boosted by a W today. We take that into tomorrow. And whether we bat or bowl first, again, power play, how do we impact that? And I think that's going to set the tone going into the rest of the game, and hopefully we do that well.
It must be a nice feeling, because the last 9 of the games that you batted first, you haven't got the W, but you did today, so that's done. We can move on with that. Ace, you played the game for a long time. When you have the quick turnarounds, what would you like to do? How would you decompress before you get ready for tomorrow?
Oh, God, me. Look, for me, you know, there's so much cricket around nowadays, and I played a fair bit of back-to-back tournaments. I think it's important to know where you are on your own personal journey of what you need, and always sort of think about, right, the game's done, you win or whether you've lost, take the emotion out of it, understand what you need and get yourself ready for the next game. So for me personally, I'll be getting away from the game, maybe a round of golf, and then just think about mentally what I need to do.
They're going to be in the car and off to Sharjah in a minute. You haven't got time for golf.
9 holes.
There's always night golf in Dubai.
There's always
Come
night
on.
Dubai. That's right. That's exactly right. So how are you feeling? This is your second season being in charge here. Yes, a tough start, but it seems to be, like you mentioned and Ro mentioned as well, a really great group of people around you. Do you enjoy the role of head coach?
Love it, love it. And I think the management around us, the support staff around us, really makes the job easier. I think everybody understands their roles. We've got great communication. And that's essentially what you want. You want a sense of trust within your group. And, you know, we've invested a lot of time and effort into spending a lot of time with each other to try and understand what skills do we bring in terms of our strengths, where do we need some added help, and, you know, when things are not going particularly well, how do we lean on our mates? And that's not just for a player. You know, you rely on your support staff, your coaching staff as well. And somehow we've, you know, through all the ups and downs that we've experienced over the last 2 seasons, that's probably the standout for me, is that I can rely on anybody in this environment.
Well, JP, congratulations tonight. You're on the board. You're away laughing now. We'll see you in Sharjah. We'll let you go and get your night golf in or whatever it is that you need to do to decompress. But thank you for coming over and talking to us.
Thanks, guys.
What a legend.
Thank you.
What a
Thanks, JP.
legend. He must be feeling good about that. My Emirates, how are they feeling? Did they let that one slip, or were they ever really in it?
No, I think they were in it. I actually think that they were the Warriors were about 20 short. The kind of start that my Emirates got, I think it was 60 without a wicket, and after that they just lost their way. The way Bairstow and Mohammad Wasim were batting, I thought this game would be done in probably the 18th or 19th over, but they've let it slip. They'll be sitting in there thinking, nah. Again, 2 points which should have been in the bag are no longer with us.
No, they're certainly not. They are with the Warriors, however, who are off the bottom of the table and into this DP World ILT20. I want to thank you boys very much for joining me. We're going to take a short break. You don't get to go anywhere, because when we come back, we'll have a look a little more in depth of what happened to my Emirates, and we'll have a look at the next game. Come on then, quickly. Welcome back to Cricket Safari. Thank you so much for staying with us here in Abu Dhabi. So these two naughty people that tried to race into shot before, I've got Mike Hazeman and Mumtaz Khan alongside me. Ruji, I mean, it's good to be back, but it's a good leveler for you because you were not cheering for the Sharjah Warriors today, who got the points against my Emirates. What happened?
I got some cop-out from a good friend of mine, JP Dumini. He's like, listen, I saw that screen. Next time, pick us. And rightly so. I mean, I thought they played a great game. I think there was always conversation around whether that 174 was enough or not. You heard from JP as well, even they weren't sure. And the firepower that my Emirates have, there's any total they can chase down. I just think that when you leave too much for the back end, 12 runs in over for 8-9 overs, and it does get tough. Nicholas Pooran not having the purple patch that we're so used to seeing. Kieron Pollard normally obviously finds himself stuck if he has to hit for longer periods of time. And I just felt one too many wickets in that middle phase. They had 56 for 5 in over 7 to 15, and Kieron Pollard touched on that. That's something they need to tweak, and that's probably where they lost the game from the start that they had.
Hazy, you have a great deal of patience, and you showed that today in the commentary box with me. But we were commentating at a time where it really was in the balance. And my Emirates, will they be kicking themselves that they let that one go?
I think they probably will be, but there's a couple of things I need to clarify. One is that, I mean, we've had 7 thrillers, and I've had 6. I need to take a lie down.
Yeah, it needs to get you a cup of tea stat.
Yeah, so that's one. The other thing is I'm not playing that guessing game anymore about who's going to win games. That's me. I'm officially retired. Not playing anymore. That's it.
Yeah, okay, and that all seems fair.
What was the question?
Yeah, I can't remember, so we'll move it on. I'll ask you a different one. I'll ask you about Nicholas Pooran.
Yep.
I'll ask you about his performance today, because this is the second, maybe third innings we've seen that's not like him. Did he bat himself perhaps into a little bit of form at the back end to almost get his team over the line?
Yeah, I think he did. I mean, he'll be thinking, gee, I should have started going a little bit earlier, of course. I guess that'll be his thought process. I mean, he was pushing it around, really. I just think he wanted to get bat on ball a bit and just find a little bit of touch. He still wasn't hitting all that cleanly until we got White towards the end. That was a lovely shot, the little slice on the offside. And then these sixes. I mean, they were terrific shots, some of these. Low full tosses, he was belting them all the way down the ground. I mean, he's a wonderful player, but we've seen him do this sort of stuff regularly. But yeah, something's going on here in this season, season 4, which is most unlike him. I mean, he's a 360 player, deluxe, and we just haven't seen that at all, really. And I think another, maybe even 3 balls, they would have got up.
Yeah, well, okay. All right. Well, they'll be disappointed to hear that. I just am so thrilled that you said a 360 player deluxe. I don't think enough people say that. I think that's very important and a great representation of Nicholas Pooran. Let's talk about Mohammad Wasim and what he was able to do today and how much he likes this tournament. Ruji, he did a good job. He's now hit 1,000 runs in the ILT20. Why does he like this tournament so much?
I think he knows home conditions really well. He's played all his cricket here. He's also always been a phenomenal ball striker. He's right up there with a number of sixes, great opening stands with Tom Banton most of the time. And I think he is one player, yes, he's got all the muscle. Yes, he can hit the long ball. But what he has starting to do is maneuver around the crease. He's starting to sort of expand his areas of shots, the sweeps normally, trying to run hard between the wickets. But his job is to get the team off and running to a flyer. And when he can access more areas than the conventional down the ground or the heave into the leg side, you saw him a couple of times give himself room, and that's why he's in that list. That's an illustrious list of players in this tournament, and he's crossed the 1,000-run barrier now.
Obviously,
can I go a step
Yes,
further? I
yes.
think he's a really determined cricketer. I think he realises this opportunity is there for him to grab with two hands. And I've watched him play a lot over the years, and I think he's a fine player. And I really like the way he goes about his stuff. He's really dedicated, and good luck to him. I like that attitude that he takes onto the park.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we look at the attitude of the two teams here tonight, Sharjah Warriors probably came in feeling a little bit, I don't know how to describe it, after 3 losses, a little bit down perhaps. They come away a little bit up and they move on very quickly. They head to Sharjah tomorrow. How do they capitalise on any momentum they might have picked up here tonight?
I think it's going to be great on both fronts because they had to make 5 changes, whether they were rotation, forced or injury based. So in spite of those 5 changes, missing out on some key players, they've still managed to cross the line. Yes, they were under the pump towards that back end, but they got runs on the board. The opening partnership was great. Their bowlers came to the party. Junaid Siddiqui, Sikandar Raza with a great spell to win them the game, to pick up player of the match as well. So I think momentum will be on their side. And like JP said, it's a short tournament and you sort of just need to win key moments. They've done that tonight and hopefully in the home, although they don't have a great record in Sharjah. They don't have a great record in Sharjah.
Don't say that.
So
don't
sorry,
say they can do it and then say they don't have a great record in Sharjah. But let's continue talking about winners and let's see who our winners are in tonight's competition on Z. So it's time to find out these lucky winners from the TV quiz last night. A reminder of the 2 questions we asked. Who led ADKR in the first match of the DP World ILT20 Season 2? The answer was, of course, Sunil Narain. Question 2 was who skippered the Dubai Capitals in Season 2? The answer to that was Sam Billings. So well done to all the lucky winners who are on the screen now. For anyone looking to take part in tonight's quiz, results will be announced tomorrow night and best of luck. Congratulations again. Remember, T's and C's apply. So I'm now absolutely aware it's Sunday. It's Super Sunday here at the DP World ILT20. And this is the first, of course, of the double headers tonight. There's one happening up the road and it's just about to get underway. It is the Vipers taking on the Capitals. The Vipers have won the toss. They're going to have a bowl first, which is hardly any surprise given the conditions in Dubai. Hazy, who is this more important for in terms of the competition?
Well, the Capitals have got to double up after playing well last night and winning that one and fronting up again straight after and getting another game and playing well again. But the Vipers will win this one, which now means, of course, the Capitals are going to win it.
Yeah, absolutely. Hazy can't pick him. He cannot pick him. But you do see the Vipers at the top of the table there. Ruji, who are you picking for tonight's clash?
Yeah, I think Vipers. Their record in Dubai very, very good. Capitals have found form, but I think Vipers an all-round a very good side. 5 out of Finn. 5 out of 5. 5 out of Finn.
5 out of Finn?
I don't know what that means.
5 out of Finn. Horses for courses.
Sunday's about to get over.
Player deluxe. That is it here, people. And I tell you what, who you pick tonight, don't listen to these two because they got it wrong here in Abu Dhabi. It was the Sharjah Warriors that managed to get over the line against my Emirates. They are finally on the board in this Season 4 of the DP World ILT20. Hazy, Ruji, love you. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience today. Thank you for joining us. We leave you here in Abu Dhabi, but you make sure you change channels and you get yourself watching that game is happening over in Dubai. It's going to be a cracker and we'll see you tomorrow.